So I was checking my notes, and I guess the way to term it is that, and excuse me if I was rambling a little bit with the reviewing episodes 1 to 4, but I did not want to give anything away. I'm still going to try, but again, a lot of this is already floated out there. Some of this is even given away by the trailer, so I can't really hold that back. I will just say this. I guess my basic reading of it is this, that it's kind of weird reverse. So, like with Game of Thrones, the further you go down the seasons, the worse it gets, right? The catastrophic season 8. But even, early season 4, season 5, things were starting to get a little weak. So Andor is going the opposite. It's that the later we go with the episodes, the better the quality. But the first 3 episodes were not terrible. They weren't that good. It felt like seasons 4 and 5 of Game of Thrones, which were still good, but they show a lot of decline. So it's a really rare thing that, right, usually because when a series is about to end or seasons keep going forward, you lose quality. But no, the quality got higher. Let me take off the major problems, then we'll get to praise, because there is a lot to praise. It is very praiseworthy. I don't think it's the, 9 out of 10 that people say. It's not 9 out of 10, guys. It's not. Calm down. Is it some of the best Star Wars you're ever going to see? Yes, I do think it's in the top tier of Star Wars, no doubt about it. But quite a few problems and things that plagued the first couple episodes still here, very, very slow pace. Now, these episodes, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the pacing makes sense. It's slow for a reason, but it is needlessly slow, and some stuff is repetitive. And I don't know if I have to be the guy to declare this, but it's like I think we're done with Star Wars and romance. It just seems to never be done well. Like, just I guess Han and Leia is the only one that really is fine, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people are probably going to go crazy for the Andor Bix thing, but I found it really repetitive, and I thought some of the monologues were really lame and dumb. And I'm going to say right now, because I know probably it's going to be a backlash later, but I'm going to be ahead of the curve. Yeah, that Mon Mothma speech was just horrifically stupid. It didn't sound right. It didn't feel like Star Wars at all. The monster's coming for us all, and all this other nonsense. And also, like, she's like, "Oh, Palpatine's going to come and eat us." Palpatine doesn't do that. And again, it is powerful because when you see the episodes, you understand the resonance of what she's denouncing. But the actual dialogue is like, huh? Huh? But I'm not being totally critical of everything because there's a moment where she speaks to Bale, played by Benjamin Bratt. And yes, I know that's going to be controversial too. I think he did a splendid job. It has to be very understated. But he says some things that don't feel Star Wars. I had no problem with that, although I think the dialogue could have been better. So, like, the context and the atmosphere was excellent, but I thought the actual speech was, like, kind of lame and pathetic. And to put it mildly, the Empire overreacting. I mean, I would think they're going to put her under house arrest, but really, they were like, "Oh, we need to find it now." Like she's the most critical character in the universe, and I'm like, "Calm down, calm down." So still really slow, needlessly. The music also off key. Like some of the stuff is just really doesn't add up. Some of the music is excellent in certain scenes, but in other places, it's like this doesn't fit the scene. Doesn't sound like Star Wars. It's not even good. It's over way too loud. Way too loud. So, too many scenes. They're like, calm down, lower the volume. Calm down, lower the volume. But that said, despite major minor flaws with each episode, because some stuff does not really add up, and it just also feels like, yeah, that's not how that works in terms of the lore canon. So we're bending a few things, but that's fine. That's fine. It's nothing that's being broken. Now get ready for the Mahler unbridled praise because there's a lot to praise. The acting, cinematography, the symbolism. Although I will make again one minor criticism: the spider thing. That's a lot. They do the spider thing a lot, a lot. But the reason it's getting so much praise, it's incredibly cohesive, especially the details. Because again, this has been a problem with every part of Star Wars, the OT, PT, ST, the way it works with nostalgia. Even the first film, they're already mythologizing itself, and it gets a little annoying. And it just seems every trilogy, every movie, every series cannot stop tapping into other parts of Star Wars. It always feels a little bit weird. Not here. So there are nods with Saw and other characters to the PT, to the OT, And even, of course, shading because they're getting ready for the ST when people hit dread, but so what? So everything feels interconnected very well, feels right for the time period, and it makes sense. There are a few cameos, like Bale is one of them. It totally fits the story. You never feel that the characters don't feel like themselves. It's not, you're not looking at the actors. It does feel like the characters. I would say Lucen is the one ironic that feels a little bit out of character because he's clearly trying to force Cassian to be, well, basically evil. Feels a little bit overly brutal. And also the way that Bix relates to him is also kind of feels like it doesn't sound right sometimes. So that was a little weird, but I understand what he's trying to do in terms of self sacrifice. It just feels a little bit, no pun intended, forced. But everything is and feels top notch. The special effects, the costumes, especially, and they do look a little silly, especially with the scenes, but it makes sense. It's appropriate. It is explained very thoroughly why they look very, especially Andor. I could not take him seriously. He looked laughable, but it's explained. The language, the dialogue is much stronger. The first three just had so many bad, lame jokes. It was just tiresome, especially even with that shocking, whatever you want to call it, violent physical scene with Bix. It just felt tonally all over the place. Here, yeah, it's a few tonal inconsistencies, but for the most part, it is dark and silly and comedic where it should be. Probably my only major complaint would be when Krennic is challenged. That felt a little strange that they would be that open and blatantly saying, "Yeah, we think the Empire's bad." I'm like, I don't know if you'd do that to a guy who would probably kill you, but okay, it's fine. These are elites. Elites do that. They take a little bit more freedom than the more ground level rebels. That said, were there a few things I think they could have done differently? Yeah, I mean, they went for a French aesthetic. They're clearly modeling this on Les Mis, a lot of the French Revolution, the berets, which doesn't really fit Star Wars, but okay, that's a minor thing. Um, and I'm glad that they tried to create an internal language to give it more authenticity, but a lot of that goes a long way. And it was just like, okay, I'm tired of the broken half Spanish, half French. I mean, it's not Amelia Perez, but it got a little jarring after a while. That said, the payoffs and twists and contradictions of certain characters was pretty astonishing. And there have been a lot of deaths in Star Wars, a lot of tragedy mixed in with the comedy, but we got to be honest, there's just an insane tendency, and I know I'm going to shock people. I'm actually going to defend Rise of Skywalker, bringing back Palpatine. I actually think that was one of the best decisions because Palpatine just dying didn't feel right. He's just too powerful. But the problem is, too many other characters have been resurrected without really rhyme or reason, and it's just it diminishes what death means. That is the complete opposite here. You're going to feel a lot of death when certain characters die, even minor characters. I was like, I'm not going to give away who, but this one female character, like when she dies, I'm like, she's dead. She's gone. This is not Snoke. It's not Mace Windu. It's not Anakin. She's gone. And I was like, wow. Because again, that's been missing from Star Wars. So the deaths are very consequential. I mean, I'm sure when people say Ender is very adult, it's not very graphic. I mean, again, sometimes people just die very plain, but it's still very powerful. And that's just been missing from Star Wars because you just see all of those Imperials die, Rebels die. It's just like, okay, they die. And their deaths are permanent. I mean, Kenobi, some people died permanently. They're dead. But it's like, yeah, but we don't really care. Here, it is very powerful. And that's just been missing from Star Wars. So there's just a lot to praise here in terms of things having significance. Even small snatches of dialogue, you think, well, that's kind of plain for Star Wars. Like just when Cassian says to, I can't even say who, it's a critical part of the dialogue, say, we're not droids here. And the person pushed back saying, okay, I don't care. So there's just a lot of complexity of these characters that's been missing. I mean, and people are saying, it's better than the OT. Well, again, it's apples and oranges. The OT had fantasy characters. They're fantasy archetypes. They're not really real people, except maybe for Han Solo. Han Solo is probably one of the most real people in Star Wars. But again, that's fine. It's just very mythic space opera stuff. That's not Andor. These characters feel like, unfortunately, We could be in the same situation like 75, 100 years. We would literally be those people. So it feels very realistic and very shocking and very sad and moving in many places. That said, I do think certain plot twists are like going to be like questioned. But the fight is probably going to be over the best episodes. I would probably go with episode 9, but I think episode 8 is going to have a lot of fandom behind it because it's so violent and very gritty, and just the way it's choreographed, and it's very well done. You wonder, like, wait, why would that character do that? Isn't he on the side of the rebels? But you understand, the guy's just gone. As much as people praise Hayden for what he did with Anakin, slowly going crazy, and I joined them, I still didn't find it quite convincing, which is not his fault. I mean, there's a larger cut of Revenge of the Sith. Maybe that would have been better, like a Snyder cut, but we have what we have, and it feels sloppy. I think that character is just insane. And the way it's shown and portrayed, and again, technically, this is a guy we don't really should like, but his mental breakdown is actually probably going to be studied in film courses because it is really believable. Like, he is just totally gone because he's like, he has nothing. Everything's been betrayed. His value system, it's not clear what am I doing this for. So he's just going to go around killing things. He's totally gone. So, and it's not Andor, although I think Andor is also close to being just mentally exhausted. So very excellent episodes, uniformly good. But again, we still have the weak beginning episodes. But these episodes were uniformly good. I'm going to give the overall score 8.25. Very strong, very recommended. Best Star Wars has ever been? Well, maybe, maybe not, but definitely now within the upper tier of Star Wars.